All right, let me get started with the bonsai tree. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to it. I already have an idea of what I want to do, of the shape that I want before I wire it and train it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of a lot of what's going on here at the trunk. I want to show a little bit more of what the trunk looks like. So I'm going to try to get rid of all of this and kind of have like a slope like right here so I can train it to go in a particular pattern that I want. So what I have here is I have some shears, different types of shears on getting down to it. I have like these right here, the pliers, and I also have these, which are also shears. These are mostly for like the end branches that I don't want, but I can easily just use this. I have a brush for brushing off of a little bit of debris. I'll use that mostly at the end. And then also have some tweezers right here. And these tweezers are gonna be for, you know, at the very end to get like the knickknacks and whatnot. So I'm gonna have that. And importantly, I have right here, I have putty for sealing the wounds, the major wounds to prevent scarring. Use this, I highly suggest this product right here. So let me go ahead and get started. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna really try to expose the base. So I'm gonna get down to the base, get rid of a lot of all this that's going on right here. So I'm just gonna get down to the base and just cut them. You see that right here? And I want to kind of get at the base and get it right down there so there's not like a stoop like hanging off, because if it's like a little, if I don't get it all the way to the end of the branch, it'll have a little stump and I'll just end up having to do more cutting a little bit later. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go through this and get a lot of what's at the base. Just go ahead and clip a lot of these off. That's what I'm gonna do. And one of the most important things to do this, don't water your tree before you do this, okay? You want it to be kind of thirsty, because that way the putty sticks to the tree or sticks to the wound a little bit better. One of the things you want to get is like these, there's going to be stumps that come out of the base. You want to get that out because you don't, it kind of looks tacky. So I'm going to get the ones from the base and just go ahead and cut those off. Get those off. In the beginning, when you're getting the base, it's kind of easy because it's really messy right here. I have a pretty sloppy tree. It's pretty much raw. Never been pruned before or shaped. So I'm just gonna get this and just get at the base. All right, fairly easy. Get these. And so I'm exposing a lot of the base of the trunk. All right, I want that to show. Like right now it looks kind of bad because you can see the wounds from the cuts that I'm making, but that will heal over time and you won't see that as much. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this, go and get the base, and cut this. All right, and then every so often, take a look at what you're doing, just so you can pretty much see where you're going with what you're doing and shape it up nicely. That way you get to the end, it won't look like a bad haircut. So that's what I tend to do. I just take a little twirls around, see what's going on, see how it's growing. Also, at the same time, I'm looking at how I'm going to start to train it with my copper wiring. Very important. So I'm just gonna keep on going. Again, also, one thing very important, make sure that you do this at the beginning of the growth season. Okay, you don't want to do this late in the growth season if you're gonna be training it, okay? So I'm getting this going. All right. And so one important thing to do, like while you're doing this, is a lot of the branches that are growing underneath that that aren't going to be seeing a lot of sunlight, you want to go ahead and clip those out, because what those end up doing is growing in a way to get sunlight and eventually disrupting whatever shape that you've tried to get at the beginning. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, kind of cut it at an angle. All right, it's starting to shape up pretty nice to the way that I want it. right now is I'm gonna try to get some of them underneath, because underneath is very important as well too, because it'll, like if you look at your tree from an angle, it'll really look good if you have it edged up with the branches that are underneath. Looks kind of uniform, or any stragglers underneath. I'm gonna go ahead and get those underneath right here. I'm gonna, yeah, go ahead and get this underneath. It's starting to shape up pretty nicely. All right, so I'm gonna get that. And then the stragglers, because they're gonna grow up pretty strong. And there's some like that are really close to the stump. I'm gonna go ahead and tap those. I'm gonna scoot over this way so you can see a little bit. All right. Go ahead and just get all this going. Now these are good for bigger branches. Some of the smaller ones, you may want to use these, or even your tweezers to pick up some of the smaller new growth that are at the base or trying to grow out. And so I'm gonna pull out my tweezers and then just sort of like just pull those out of the way if I can. If not, I may have to do it by hand. I try not to do it by hand. I try to get used to doing this. And you know what also works? If you go to the drugstore and get some of the sharp tweezers that they have, they're just as good as a kit that you can buy. All right, so you have these stumps right here. I'm gonna try to smooth those out a little bit with my cutters, but I'm gonna just shape it up first before I get to those, because those are kind of rough right now. I want to get as much as I can off of those before I seal them up with putty. All right, so this light piece right here, I'm gonna go ahead and shape this straggler. Try to get it at the base. All right. All right. So these are growing this way. I'm gonna train this. It's gonna be kind of like a fork, a little bit unorthodox, but I mean, I want my tree to be unique and not like everyone else's. So I'm going to try to do that. All right. Go ahead and get this shaped up. All right, it's starting to look pretty nice right now, like a fresh haircut. It's gonna look scrawny at first, but you have to realize at the beginning of the growth season, you're gonna get a lot of growth. So anything that you have cut off right here and it looks kind of skinny at the beginning, it'll start to fill in over the next few months. My growth season is very short because I live in the northern part of the country. So all right, get a lot at the base. All right, so what now, like right here on the tree trunk, I have a lot of stubbles, right? And I'm gonna try to smooth those out by getting closer to the base. I really couldn't do so much at the beginning, but I'm gonna get in here because once I put the putty on, you know, it's the last part that I can do. So I'm gonna just try to get where I cut off. I'm just trying to get as close as I possibly can to the base of the tree, the trunk of the tree. All right, so I'm just gonna get there. Now this is gonna heal with the putty over time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put the putty on, let the putty dry, and then I'll be ready to get the wiring ready for training this bonsai. All right, so I'm gonna get underneath right here. Scoot over. All right, let's getting to pretty much the shape that I want. I'm gonna take these right here and just kind of even it up at the top. This is right now just kind of shaping it up a little bit. All right, pretty much the shape that I want. See a little bit in the back. And the thing of it is you keep on looking around and making sure that you're getting the shape that you want. Look at it from different angles. Maybe stand up, look at it. Make sure you get in the different angles, because every time you look at your tree, it's probably gonna be a different angle, different type of light's gonna be hitting it. So you want to be, try to get it right the first time, because you don't want to keep on going back in and trying to correct things. All right. Good shape that I want right here. All right, I'm just gonna get some of these scragglers, because this new growth is gonna go. You wanna go ahead and get that down to the base so it does not keep on coming out. All right, I'm gonna try to prevent a little bit of scarring out here. It's a meticulous process. Now, it may seem like I chopped off a lot, and I probably did, but this is the beginning of the season, so I want to get it in the shape that I want it to be in before I get started. So like now that I have that down, I'm just gonna go ahead, look over it, make sure everything's pretty low, and I'm gonna apply the putty to it, to the wounds, to prevent scarring. All right. Let's get a couple more here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and apply the putty of this and let this dry out, and then I'm gonna start to train it. All right. Apply the putty like this. And just get on the wound and cover it up. Like that. Cover it up and wait for it to let it dry. The wound. This stuff is really great, you guys. All right, go ahead and get the putty on there. Couple more spots. Make sure you get all of the wounds on the trunk, because you don't want any nasty scarring, you don't want any infection going, depending on the tree that you have. Just make sure you get it all covered. And if it starts to crack once it dries, just apply a little bit more. This stuff is great. All right, so I'm gonna put some more right here. Some places that I didn't get. Of course, the way I'm doing this kind of looks sloppy. There are better ways of applying this, but in this case right here, I'm just trying to get putty on the wound. I'm not really concerned about the aesthetics of it right now, because it's the beginning of the growth season. I still have to wire it, and I'm more concerned of preventing infection and preventing scarring. All right, so I have that there. I got all of, oh, there's one that I missed. Make sure you go around and make sure you get all of them. All right, perfect. Perfecto. All right, so this is me pruning my bonsai. Next video, I'm gonna wire it for training. Let me know what you think. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Beginning of the season. Thanks a lot. All right, so now I'm gonna get to training my bonsai, and I'm doing something a little bit unorthodox. I have two parallel growing branches right here, but I'm actually gonna have them go in different directions. I'm gonna have this one come up a little bit, and then this one dive down and grow thick, okay? And I'm gonna have them grow thick. And what I'm using a little bit of thicker gauge copper wiring on this because I just typically like thicker gauge because it's easier to manipulate, like if I have slight changes while it's growing. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start to unravel some of this, the thicker gauge, all right. All right, let me go get some wire cutters. All right, so I have my wire cutters and I'm just gonna get started. Now, it's really good for you to get up, sit down, and keep on moving around while trying to do this, because doing so, you'll get a look at it at different angles. And when you're doing so at different angles, you get a better idea of how to shape it. Kind of like a barber. If you've ever seen a barber, they typically move around a lot so they can see what they're doing and making sure that they're getting the best haircut for the person. So what I'm gonna do is I have this right here. I have some putty that's not quite dry. I know people are like thinking like, what are you doing? I mean, it's dry enough. And so I'm just gonna wrap it a little bit around the base, like right here. Not too tight, because if you do it too tight, when you get growth, especially during the growth season, or the beginning of the growth season, you will get some scarring on your bonsai. And you do not want that, okay? So I'm just gonna take this and just wrap it around. Now, doing so at the base of the tree, wrapping around will ensure that the bonsai stays in place, or the wiring will stay in place while doing this. And you're just gonna keep on wrapping around, and then you're gonna get towards where you're trying to, the branch or not, what you're trying to do. And make sure you get close down to the base. And because I have such a thick wiring right here, I don't need to do it too tight. So I'm just gonna get around here in the base and just like maybe at a 45-degree angle, just keep on twirling it around until you get to close to the edge of the branch where you want to train. All right, so I'm gonna get down here, get close to the edge. All right, make sure you get close to the branch, because if you don't, you will kill some of the growing leaves, the young growing leaves. So I'm gonna get down there, and you're just gonna clip off the copper wiring. I really like copper. Get to the edge and then clip off, okay? So I have this one done, this branch done, all right? See, a little bit exposed. Some people choose to use a smaller gauge of wiring because for aesthetic reasons, but I'm more of like, okay, it's beginning of the season. I just want to really train it the way I want to. I have an idea of how I want it shaped, but that may change. So I have one going this way right here. So one training right there. And then I want to train this one also, okay? You want to train where you still see green going, because that's what's you're going to train. If you have like the bark, the wooden part, that's really tough. I don't think you really can train that too much. So I'm going to start right here, where this is wood right here. This isn't going to go anywhere right here. So I'm going to get towards the base. Remember, get towards the base. All right. You do not just find a place in there. Get towards the base, because if you get over the new foliage, you will possibly destroy it and it won't be the end of the world, but it won't be aesthetically pleasing if you have like missing spots in there. All right. And remember, you're going to get growth. So please keep that in mind when you're doing this. You're going to get growth. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around here. Remember the 45-degree angle that I was talking about. All right. Just get around here and just get towards the base. 45-degree angle, and I'm getting towards the end. Training the bonsai tree is it's one of my favorite things to do. Because it's just like you're taking shape. This is you getting down to business. Now I'm just going to keep on getting down here. I'm going to try to get to the edge because I really want to train this in a way that I want to. I'm going to get growth. It's at the beginning of my growth season. So, this is the best time in getting this done. So once you get down to the edge, you're just going to take your wire cutters and go ahead and clip the copper again, all right? And so like now it's wired up, and now I'm going to shape it to the way that I want to. Like I said, I want this going upwards. Okay, you see how this bends right here? This is how it's going to grow like that. All right, and then I'm going to have this branch right here grow downwards and then come outwards. And it looks funny right now, but once it starts to grow, it's going to get in full, and it'll look like 2 layers. It's going to look really cool towards the end of the season. I'm going to do a video on that once I get down to that. So I'm just going to bend it into shape that I want to. Make sure the copper wiring is close to the base. All right, so I'm just going to shape it, and this may change over the course of the growth. It's growth season, right? So it may change. My idea may change. I may wake up one morning and just be like, you know what, I don't want it to grow that way. All right, so that's why I use a thicker wiring. All right, so let me know if you have any questions, and that's me training my bonsai. I'm give a twirl a little bit so you can see what it's looking like. Doesn't look like much, but I guarantee you towards the end of the season, you'll be like, wow, that looks pretty cool. Cool idea. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks a lot for watching.